Hi, I'm Ray Scott, and welcome to Visual Art Photography. Today's project is something that we're going to try to do for our homes, okay? So in the end, what we want is we want an image that we feel is good enough to print and then perhaps to hang somewhere in the house. Now, for us today, our project here is for something for the kitchen. Now, what goes better in a kitchen than a nice cup of coffee? So we're using a coffee cup, and you may need a little bit of a flashlight, and depending on where you live in the world, it may be called a torch. And we're also going to be using a big sheet of whiteboard, all right? Now, for you, your subject matter may be a little bit different depending on what you're trying to do and where you want to hang this picture in your home. But we are looking for something that is very, very simple, something that has negative space, and in our case, we're going to be looking at overexposing for a different effect. As usual, questions and comments can be addressed down below. Now, as I mentioned off the top, this is meant to be a very, very simple, simplistic idea, a very simple picture. So let's take a look at my setup and how we get started on that, and then we'll take a look at how to get the end product.
As you can see, I have one light working, and that's because I wanted a shadow coming on the other side of the coffee cup. So the light is low and to the side. I also have my background set up on the floor, giving me a focal length of, I used between 80 and 105 millimeters. If your background is on a table, it may be a little bit closer, so you have a different focal length. I used an aperture of f/16 on all shots, and here you have it. It worked really, really well. I had a nice distance between the camera and the subject and a pretty good shadow as well. Okay, so we've seen the setup. And this is the first shot that I took, or at least one of the first shots that I took, and it has been overexposed by 2.5 stops to make everything very white. Now you have to remember, the cup was white, the background was white, so what it was trying to do was underexpose and make everything gray. So I overexposed it to bring it back to white. And I really needed about 1.5 stops, but I bumped it up another stop after that because I was really trying to make this look, for lack of a better term, modern. I just wanted it to be mostly white. But you can still see the shadow and you can still see a little bit of light gray in the image, but basically it is just white. No coffee in it. So the next thing I did was I put a little liquid in the cup. And this is what I got. Same exposure, but now with what appears to be coffee. And I have, I want to have full disclosure here. That is actually not coffee. That is water with blue food coloring in it. Now, I've turned all my images to black and white. That's the way I wanted them. So what was blue now appears to be black, and that's exactly the way I want it. But if you want to have your coffee appear like it's got steam coming out of it, then obviously you're going to have to use real hot coffee or real hot water. But the other thing too that you notice about coffee that you don't see here is if you're using coffee, you will probably have bubbles, little bubbles around the edges of the cup. And if you want that, then for sure use coffee. It wasn't important to me in this particular image. That's not really what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for so much realism as I was just looking for an artistic effect. And this is what I think I got here. Here I turned it around a little bit. I turned the cup around so that the shadow would be a little bit different. And the handle is coming out at a bit of a different angle. I actually don't care for this as much, but I love to experiment. I tried all kinds of different things. I'm just showing you a few of them. What I also did here, however, was in Lightroom, I used the clarity slider to a negative value. In other words, I moved it to the left so that everything became a little bit softer and a little bit more ethereal. So these three images are what this is really what I was after. I really actually like this one without coffee. I just liked the fact that it was so plain and so simple. And this one, of course, for the coffee, will probably end up in my kitchen. And this one, not so much. Now, if you want something a little bit more with a little more pizzazz or something like that. This is where that flashlight comes in. I was holding the flashlight a few feet away from the cup, outside of the frame, of course, and look at the effect that you get in the liquid. So there's that. If you want it to be a little bit more whatever, you can do something like this. I was using an aperture of f/16, and I got this star-like effect plus the ring, and it may be something you're looking for. It wasn't what I was looking for at all. I had also moved the flashlight down a little bit closer into an angle so that you see the shadow detail is a little bit different from here to here. Not something I was looking for, but I love to experiment, and I always encourage you to do the same. Experiment, don't be afraid. And here, if you take this same image, and then I took it into Photoshop, and I just thought, I'll take a look at it and see what it looks like without that center light, that star light there, and it looked like that, just with a ring. Not quite as in your face as this. But in the end, I have to tell you, I keep on going back to this one and this one as being my two favorites. Just very simple, lots and lots of negative space. It just speaks to what I was trying to do for this project. It'll be really, really interesting to see what you come up with and what your treatment is and what your approach is and what your end product is.
I really hope when you do this project that you get something that you feel is suitable for framing and suitable to hang in your home. Until next time, I'm Ray Scott, reminding you, it's not what you see, it's how you see it. And I'll see you soon.